Yo, welcome to Music is a Day Job. I'm your host, Sean, and this is brought to you by the Concert app. The Concert app is the artist accelerator app that takes artists from opener to headliner to on tour. It gives the fan the best experience in independent live music. Now, today, what we're going to talk about, I actually talked to an artist about it backstage the other night, and we decided to call it the midlife music crisis. That's what we call the midlife music crisis. And see, when I was talking to him, I was like, this happens in 2 points, I guess you can say. Early in your career, probably like around when you have to decide whether you're going to get a job and or whether you're going to do music. And then the others when you get older and you still do music. So it's not just a midlife crisis. Like at one point, it's like there are like two midlife music crises that happen. And just by chance, he's going through the first one. And he was like, so what he said to me, he said, so when you started, you were kind of at that spot where he's like, I'm wondering whether I'm going to just go full force or whether I'm just gonna quit. Now, the crazy thing about this artist is he's in a good spot, even with the concert app. He's a headliner and he's actually going on tour right now. And he's just at that spot where he's like, where life hits. And what I tell people, because I can't really say it based off of my situation, because I kind of like put my own back against the wall. My mom had got sick and she was in Virginia at the time, and all my money I had saved up for my job, I was spending over that time period of going out there and doing everything like that. And I didn't have a job anymore. So I'm spending more money than what I was using. So I ran out of money, and I'm telling the dude in my group, like, yo, either we got to figure out how to rap or I got to get a job when I get home. And he's like, looks like we got to figure out how to rap because I just got fired today, you know? So it's like we put our back against the wall to kind of be like, yo, we're just going to go at it, which I'd never tell anybody to do. Don't do that. Don't don't look at this video and be like, yo, I'm going to quit today and I'm just going to go. Make sure you have a plan before you go into that idea. So with this music, this midlife music crisis, which I say happens around, like, I'd say 22 to 25. It's when you're at that space where it's like you either need to you got to figure this out because you have to live a regular life. You're either going to have to work or, and the debate here is a lot of people will put it off to the side and they'll let it become a hobby, and it'll stay a hobby forever because they'll never figure out how much they need to do to get to the next level, because they'll become comfortable. So the one thing you have to worry about that is when you decide, like, let's say you decide, hey, I still want to do music, but I want to make it a hobby. Now, if you want to make it a hobby for good, then great, do that. Be like, yo, this is a hobby and it's going to be a hobby the rest of my life. I don't want it, like, make sure you have no regrets with that. So you can say, hey, I'm just going to make this music my hobby and I'm good, But if you're saying, hey, I possibly still want to be successful at this, you do have to take it full time, or you have to be in the point where you're understanding that you're working to figure out how you can just cover up your basic needs for right now financially, and then cross over. So make sure you understand like what that is. And I always tell artists, like, in my system, when you're around 150 fans, that's when you're making $1,000 a night. So when you're personally bringing in 150 people, that's when you're making $1,000 a night. So if you got to the point that you were doing that, let's say in 10 places, then you're making $10,000 to hold you over for 2 to 3 months, mattering like what your lifestyle's like, and hopefully you're doing merch and maybe you have sponsors at that point. So that holds you over 3 months and you do it over again. So hopefully that's how you're moving. But when you get to around I'd say 3 to 5 places that you're doing that in, and you're making 3,000 to 5,000, that's when you start saying to yourself, hey, maybe I should leave this job. And I think I've talked about this in another one, was maybe when I get to that point, that's when I say, if I had the rest of the time of the day to look for fans and be in these places and stuff like that, I can then supplement all the rest of the income because I would be able to get more stuff done. So always play it like that, because I've heard multiple people come to this crisis and they get to it and they're just kind of like, yo, either I got to take life, because you start being like, I have to take life seriously. Now, the second one is, which I've kind of talked about before, is because, see, I don't believe it has an age limit. This music has an age limit. So, because in every other genre, only in hip hop do you really ever hear people like, it's a young man's game. It's a young man's game. But then in every other genre, which I think that's a conspiracy in its own, that the only genre that people do this is, yeah, but we won't get into any conspiracies. But either way, I feel like you get to that point where you get older and you say, hey, am I going to keep doing this? And I felt that too. I felt it too. Like, I felt it too when I get at points and I'll just be like, yo, am I getting too old to do this? Am I getting too old? You know what I'm saying? You in your late 30s, just like, is this like, then you look at like people, there's some artists touring is like 60 right now and they still pushing hard. I always say, like, as long as you can be creative and you feel like you still have stories to tell and you still have people you want to make feel a certain way, you should do it. And it's not basketball. It's not sports. It's not that your body has to, like, you don't have to heal a certain way or anything like that. So you should take advantage of it and keep doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? There'll always be a fan base for you. You know what I'm saying? It's not the younger crowd, but then it'll always be a fan base because there's always people that's around your age bracket that can come out. And especially when you get to like over 35. When you get over 35, like, it's like a lot of people, their kids is already grown, so they ready to come back outside. There's that weird spot that it's like a weird spot. It's like, I think it's like 20, I'll say it's like 26, 27, where a lot of your fans won't come out because they got families now and they got like young kids, like around like 26, 27. They have like these young kids and they aren't coming outside. And so you're stuck in this weird space where you're like finding fans that are either like way younger than you. So you're like, let's say you're like 26, 27, and like your fans, you're getting fans that are like college age, and then you're getting fans that are older. And then when you get to the other side of it and you're like 34, 35, whatever, you get into a space where you're like, everyone's back outside again. Everyone's willing to come outside again because their kids is grown. And their families are like, you know what I'm saying, they done been married long enough that they go do their own thing now. Or they both come out, you know what I'm saying? Or they're back single again, you know what I'm saying? So that's where you'll face it again, but then there are people out there for you, so you'll face that midlife crisis again, that midlife music crisis again, and you'll be like, yo, like, should I be doing this? But I always tell people, like, there is no age limit to what you're doing. All the stuff you talk about, which I talked about in the age one, was like, all the stuff you talk about, you do at this age too, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you might as well keep it going. You might as well keep it going, as long as you ain't talking about no kid stuff and wearing kid outfits. Like, you gotta do what you do, So, yeah, that's the midlife music crisis that we kind of broke down to each other, and we were just like joking about it and everything like that. And I'm hoping the young man gets his like, sees what he wants to really do, because he's very talented, and hopefully he goes like, yo, I'm going to figure out this blueprint for me to be successful. So once again, this Music is a Day Job. I'm your host, Sean, and this is brought to you by the Concert App. The Concert App isn't in every place yet, but we're hoping to get there. So if we are where you are, once you download the app, you'll see where we are currently, where we have shows currently, or Q2 conferences. If we're in one of your cities, make sure you come to those, or make sure you get on those shows and start doing your thing. If we aren't, make sure you tell every artist you know to download the Concert App so we can get to your city ASAP, or your state ASAP. If you know any venues, tell us about them so we can start reaching out to them and we can start getting shows in those areas. And once again, like, comment, and subscribe.